Hi, I'm Barbara Rimkunis, and this is your Exeter History Minute. Winter has returned. It's like every year this happens. In case you're curious what winter in Exeter is like, it was 6 degrees below zero the other night. And if you're watching us from another Exeter in the UK or Canada or Tasmania, Australia, and we know you're out there, that's 6 below in Fahrenheit, because this is the United States and the only thing we measure in metric is 2-liter soda bottles. So convert that to 21 below zero in Celsius. That's cold. And of course it used to be colder here. When the first Englishmen arrived in the 17th century, we were going through a period known as the Little Ice Age. They built houses with open fireplaces for heating. These kept the smoke out, but a lot of heat was lost up the chimney. If you sat too far away, you were cold, too close, and you felt like you were on fire. And all that heat rising up through the chimney sucked the cold air from every other room in the house, creating drafts that chilled all but the most heavily dressed. Bedrooms were left unheated, as were churches. You could pile on quilts and warm up the bed with a bed warmer, like this one, or even use hot bricks between the sheets to keep warm. Church, on the other hand, was different. Elizabeth Dow Leonard of Exeter remembered Sunday morning church in the early 1800s. How people survived the cold of those old places of worship is still a mystery, she said. They used to bring little foot stoves, like this one, to pass from person to person, and sometimes from pew to pew. Fireplace heating, however, remained the standard in most New England homes until well into the 19th century. It's surprising that anyone was willing to get out of bed in the winter. Water in the wash basin would be frozen. Ink in the schoolhouse frequently had to be thawed before the students could begin work. By the time of the Civil War, most houses used heating stoves, which provided a bit more warmth. The freestanding stove used wood or coal to heat the house, and although people back then thought it was warm, it was really only about 50 degrees. That's 10 degrees in the rest of the world, which is still cold enough to cause hypothermia. Take a look at this little girl, channeling her inner Princess Leia, reading a book in her parlor on a cold day. If you look close enough, you can see she's wearing a knitted overskirt, probably wool, to keep warm. Women had the option of wearing many, many layers of clothing under their long skirts. This is a knitted petticoat from our collections, which must have been like wearing an Afghan around all day. If the men were cold, think of it as payback for the summer months when they didn't have to wear corsets in the heat. Central heating systems had been invented for decades, but people were largely suspicious of the technology. The air was considered too dry and unhealthy. But comfort won out in the end. Basement furnaces and central heating began to become more popular around here at the beginning of the 20th century. Small kerosene heaters in the upper rooms of the house were sometimes used for supplemental heat. Furnaces were fired with coal, which had the advantage of burning hotter than wood and left less residue in the chimney. A year after World War I, there was a spate of chimney fires in town because during the war, many people had returned to burning wood, but had forgotten to clean the chimney. Today, we create our own warm bubble of air with cozy central heating fueled by oil, gas, or electricity. By the time our kids are grown, they'll either laugh or reminisce about our use of fossil fuels. But for now, I'll take the chair by the radiator and be grateful for central heating, especially when it's 6 below. This History Minute was brought to you by the Stratham Newfields Veterinary Hospital. Maybe you can warm up with your dog. The Exeter Historical Society can be located at www.exeterhistory.org.